Hello everybody, this is Ray speaking, and today I'd like to talk to you about Minecraft and Draconic reactors. They are quite big and quite funny if they don't blow up. In case you don't know what happens if they blow up, here's a big preview. This is the blast radius of my first reactor. I didn't blow it up intentionally, I just did things wrong. And the lesson I've learned from that is to keep reactors safe, you need something. In my case, it's a computer program. Computercraft is a fine thing. You can do quite a lot with Lua programming. And let's have a look now what we can do. Okay, let's dive into Minecraft. Going to my home server. My home server is a small community server with 5 players. And we're lucky. There aren't many people online. So here we are at our, building site at my home lab. We are about 450 meters away from our base. So if things go wrong, we should be pretty safe. The frame you see here is from a quarry, which did the mining for me. I needed a few resources. Now let's go down to the reactor. Yep, this is bedrock down there, and we are at level 0 then. So here's the reactor. The components you need for a basic reactor is the reactor stabilizers, 4 pieces of them. As you can see, they are here, 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 and at the back there's one. The weird things here, you see, these are flux gates, which are mostly just limiting the flow of the energy. And here's a special thing of my reactor. We're using 2 reactor energy injectors. The lower injector is connected to this flux gate, which is just working to keep the force field in shape, so that we do not inject too much energy. Following this crew pipe, it is just going up there into the reactor, literally coming out. So yeah. But what about the strange block down there? Yep, this is a battery pack. As you can see, this capacitor bank is a huge capacitor bank. This is the amount of RF we need to charge the reactor initially, and it should be sufficient to power it down in case things go wrong. Therefore, we are having a computer here with the program running. It shows the reactor status, temperature, energy field, energy saturation, the generation rate, and the refuel level. So let's have a look at what can go wrong. Temperature too high, energy saturation too low, field strength too low, and of course we could run out of fuel. That's where we want to see it shut down properly. And we've got a second computer here, which does the different job. Well, primarily it shows some statistics and does an output. The output here is calculated, so we don't drain too much from the reactor. In theory, it runs fully automatically, and if we're shutting down the reactor, we are using the battery power and the upper injector to keep the force field online. If things go wrong, we just refresh the field with a pulse of energy. Now let's have a look at the programming. Okay, welcome to my little GitLab instance here. We are doing this Draconic reactor with Computercraft, so we need some Lua programs. Now let's collect some ideas first. If things go wrong, like the temperature goes above 6,000 degrees, it gets nasty. If the energy saturation drops below 30%, things get nasty. Containment field or refueling. You might say the reactor temperature, in example, could go up to 8,000 degrees. Okay, that's fine for you. But in my case, I want to give the system enough time to shut down. Let's look at the code. This is just global variables declarations. Going down to the welcome screen, which is just like saying, hello, this is the reactor controller. Initialization is like what we want to set up in front of it all. So if you start a program, it runs through init. The monitor function here is just for the connected monitor because I want to have something where I can print little status information if I just pass by and see, okay, it's online. That's what I'm doing here. Next thing is just a timestamping because I do want my stuff to work with timestamps that I know that it's running. It's something I'm used to from other programming languages, other projects, not in Lua, of course. But well, why don't keep it here? So this is where the interesting stuff starts. We are reading in the reactor information from the back of the computer. Then we're doing some variable transfer. And yeah, this is bad practice, I know. But here we are just doing the maths for getting our values straight. And we are reading the flux gate on top. This is where we just summarize our status. This is just some formatting stuff where I pretty print the numbers. There's two. And here we go to the main loop. We are reading stuff from the Draconic reactor. And we say, what if we're offline? Well, if the reactor is offline, there's nothing to do. So let's wait until it's charging. This happens here. If somebody says, okay, we're charging, then we need to open the flux gate for charging. We're getting flux from the batteries. And if we are charged, then we're okay. We don't need the flux gate open anymore. And we're ready to go online. And that's what we're telling the user here. Now the fun part, if we are going online, we are charging the backup batteries. We are opening the flux gate and we're telling the user, of course, we are. So why do we charge the backup batteries at first? Well, we do need them if things go wrong. And then we, of course, clear the terminal. We are getting our status display and we are telling the user we are online. Now, we are successfully online, hopefully. What can go wrong? Temperature, we are shutting down. Next thing, energy saturation below 30%, we're shutting down. If the field goes down, shutting down. If we need refueling, then we are going down. That's not a big deal. It's just if anything is outside of our wanted parameters, we are going down. And this is where it comes to stopping. If we are stopping, we are using the text color orange here because it should be a warning. We're displaying what happened, the error. We displayed the error and what happened. And this is the safety part here. If the containment field drops below 50%, we are reinforcing it with the juice from the battery. If it's above 50%, we don't need to. And this is the main loop we're doing. Now to put things together, we start our program. This is where the welcome screen kicks in. The init functions, we do read the variables from the reactor, so we know what we're doing and we're displaying stuff. And then we're starting our job, the main loop, which is just short and sweet, the main loop. Then we are going to sleep and we're continuing with the main loop. Yeah, that's it, basically. As you can see, that's the main loop again. The next thing I'm talking about is the drain. The drain was at the left side of the reactor. In case you don't remember, this was where the energy goes out to the Draconic core. What we're doing here is basically the same thing. We are getting our variables definitions, then we are our logging functions, the welcome screen, the monitor, and here we are reading again. Reading is just the same thing what we're doing at the other script we've looked at before. Pretty numbers, points, and this is where the init happens. The first thing is what we do is we close the output flux gate. If we're starting up the reactor, we don't need it to overheat instantly because of pulling too much juice. The first thing is close everything. The backup battery is charging, remember. Okay, if we're offline, then we don't need to do anything. We can't output anything, we don't have anything. If we are charging, then we keep the flux gate shut because we don't have any juice to. Then if we are online, we're doing a little bit of math. At first we are looking at this little passage here. With the saturation, if this one is greater than 0, hopefully, then we can say, okay, our factor here is saturation divided by 5. And yeah, then we subtract 10 and add 2. This is a bit math. So what happens at the first part? The saturation in percent divided by 5 gives us a value between hopefully 10 and 20. Now we subtract 10. That should give us a value between 0 and 10. And we add 2 for, well, not being too kind with the reactor. We still want some juice out of it. And now this is where we set the output. We're looking at the generation, what we're getting from the reactor. We are generating some RF, and half of it at least is going to the containment field. Now we divide it by 5, and everything in total is multiplied with our factor, and we set the output to it. So if the saturation now drops below 50%, this is where we don't want to have the reactor. Then we just reduce the output for 10,000 RF. It's just being kind to the reactor. And if the output rises above 500,000, we just cap it there. We don't need more. I know there are reactors out there running at 750 and more, but is that safe? I'm not sure. So if we are stopping, this is the next thing here, we are just shutting down the output, and that's it. Congratulations, you've made it through the video until here. Now it's time for me to say thank you, and if you want to have a look at the Lua scripts in detail, there's a link down there in the video description. Thanks for watching.